Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Production funding for Common Ground is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Hi, and welcome to Common Ground. I'm your host, Ashley Hall. Common Ground captures the creative process of various artists living throughout our region. We delve into the veiled history of our area, plus we take you inside the cultural events that put the North in North Country. On this week's episode of Common Ground, we take you to the city of Hackensack and introduce you to Lucette, Paul Bunyan's wife. Stephen Weagel of Pequot Lakes creates metal fish art, and Raymond Wattenhofer, a painter from Park Rapids, shares some of his beautiful landscapes.
Hi, I'm Raymond, and I've been painting for about 12 years, and prior to that I did bronze sculptures, and my career has probably spanned about 35 years in the field of art. And the purpose for my paintings basically is to create an aesthetically pleasing image that can hang on the wall and people go and visit the painting whenever they feel like it, and hopefully they find something new each time they view the painting. The factors that go into a painting, well, of course, the composition and design, and value is probably more important than color. If the value is not right in the painting, no matter what your color is, it just isn't going to be right. Something's not going to look right. Something isn't going to feel right. And also in design, over the years, artists have developed methods and ways to make a painting look like a painting and not a photograph. And not that I'm condemning photographs, but this is a whole different field than photography. So the approach is different, and depending on the format, the shape of the format, a vertical format is designed a little bit differently than a horizontal format. And the elements are placed in a different way. And one of the methods that I use is actually breaking the canvas down into thirds and placing the elements in those third blocks of space on the format. And for example, this one here, you'll see this upper element here. This area here is the background. And of course, you're dealing with the middle ground and the foreground. And as you go through the various grounds, and I usually start from the back and work forward, you change the colors, you change the values, the size of the parts that are in the painting to make it feel like it's moving back in depth and it has perspective. And there are a couple of perspective elements that are considered in painting, and that is, and they are aerial perspective and linear perspective. An aerial perspective is, if you look in the distance, particularly in the morning after maybe a rain or a fog is set in, you see the haziness in the background, and the foreground is more distinct. That's aerial perspective. And linear perspective is everything focuses back into a vanishing point. The images that I use are local images for this painting. And this was up on County 40. This is a scene I saw and I thought it was really interesting, and I realized there's a lot of green in there, so I'm going to tone that down and perhaps not use quite as much green, more warmer tones, earth tones, and create a more aesthetically pleasing image than what I have in this photograph. And all the photographs, all the images I use in my work are my own. I don't use anybody else's. People sometimes come to me and ask if I could do a painting of this photograph they have, and I say no, I can't do that because I have to have been there. The atmosphere creeps into you, and it's part of the painting process. You need that to develop a good painting. These are some of my past works. The river is flowing north and all these beautiful colors in here. And you think when you think about the Mississippi River, you think about this huge, massive river flowing down south for like 2,300 miles, and you look at this little body of water up here, and you know, how does it get to be so big all the way once it gets down to New Orleans? And also I think about the colors up here in the North Country are so much different than when you get down to the South. And I would use a different palette here than I would use in the South to paint that same river. But what's fascinating to me is that the amount of water that's collected before it gets down there. I've done a variety of subject matter, and I prefer landscapes over anything else. This is a scene in the Clay Breaks. It's the Badlands of North Dakota. And again, this was a real bright morning in the summertime, and it had been raining a lot out in that country. And the grass and the sagebrush were green. Typically you don't see that. And the colors in the clay there are just so vibrant, and blue and violet colors in the warm ochre color showing through. It's just a very peaceful place to be. And this was a scene I saw on my way up to Tasca Park. I call it cattails and needles. Those soft pine needles growing there, that tree growing in the marsh just seemed odd, but it made a wonderful scene. You can see the cool greens in the background here, contrasting with the warmer tones in the front here, earth tones. And of course, the darker part of the tree trunk. Just one of those scenes that appealed to me. It's kind of like people. You meet 1,000 people and you might only find one person you kind of connect with. It's the way that going out and finding an image that is appealing. Now you can also take images that may not appeal to you. This is a funny thing too. I'll look at a photograph that I took or a sketch that I've done, and I say, boy, there's something about this that I like, and there's a lot I don't like about it. And I kind of put it off for a while, and pretty soon I'll do a painting of it. And I finished the painting, and man, I really like the painting. And what I was working from initially didn't really strike me all that much as being good. This is one of those scenes I didn't feel real good about initially. I thought it was, just didn't strike me all that much. And I studied the painting, did some sketches, and pretty soon I came up with, oh, this would really look good if I did this, change the color here, move this around, and it turned out fantastic. It's one of those paintings that you don't really want to sell. The title of this one was Spring Melt. It was in the spring of the year. This is an evening shot. You can see the warm colors cascading across the landscape. Very attractive.
Hi, I'm Jean Dawson, coordinator of the Hackensack Chamber of Commerce, and this is Lucette, Hackensack's claim to fame. Lucette was devised by a merchant here in town by the name of Dode Schroeder in the 1950s, who felt that Hackensack needed something to draw tourists. Since everybody else had Paul Bunyan, he came up with the idea of Lucette. And he built her himself, starting with an A-frame, and then he built around it with sand, plaster, metal. And she's 17 feet tall. They had a contest to see what her name would be. And a lady from Iowa came up with the name of Lucette Diana Hackensack. Paul and she ran into each other, and they were of similar size, which was unusual since Paul never found anybody his size before. So they eventually got married. And of course we have a ballad of Lucette that the Northwoods Arts Council does about once every 3 years. which explains why her skirt sticks out. But you have to come to the play when they do put it on, which won't be this year, and find out why that skirt sticks out the way it does. The legend is that she was staying with some family, not immediate family, and they didn't have room for her in their cabin. So when Paul Bunyan ambled through, they asked him if he would fell some timbers for a new cabin, and he did that with one fell swoop of the axe, and away they went. Almost everything is tied to her, really. We have Sweetheart Canoe Derby, which is a 12-mile canoe race in June. In July, we have what we call Sweetheart Days, and we have a parade and various kids' activities. We're very big on family activities here in the park where Lucette is watching over all the kids. And every Tuesday we have the kids fishing contest on the pier here, which she's also watching over. And then when we started the National Chainsaw Sculpting Invitational, we bought a sculpture of Paul Bunyan, which sits over there. It's much smaller than Paul was, but she can keep her eye on him sort of like a photograph would be. In the early 1990s, we had a serious windstorm and it blew her head off. So the city took her down and sent her to a company in Wisconsin, and that's a different face than the original Lucette had. In fact, it's even better looking. When they brought her back, they discovered that she was pregnant. And so there was Paul Jr., who used to stand here beside her, but finally the city fathers decided that he was not in direct proportion to her, so they moved him over by City Hall. Well, when Paul Jr. was put up at City Hall, within a couple of months or so, someone stole him. And they finally did find him down in Rochester and brought him back, but his foot was broken, so the local auto body shop fixed his foot, and he's back in front of City Hall, and so far he's still there. We offer copies of Lucette's wedding license, and they're all put together with a little birch bark thing to hold them. And here is the marriage license. It was the Iowa Territory, June 9th, 1838. Place was 46 degrees, 50 minutes, longitude 94 degrees, 30 minutes latitude, near Hackensack, Minnesota. Be known to all persons and in accordance with common law of this territory, Paul Bunyan of the Northwest Territory and Lucette Hackensack of the Iowa Territory joined their hands in marriage this 9th day of June, 1838. Given under my hand June 9th, 1838, the territorial judge was Edward Little. The witnesses were Joe Birch and Tom Mile. This is Lucette's wedding band. And I think when people see it on the shelf, they think it's just a glass thing, but as you can see, it definitely is the shape of a ring. And the story goes that they found her ring when she lost it when she jumped in the lake to save Paul Jr. when he was quite young. This is the walking stick that Lucette used when she was out picking mushrooms. She was a typical robust pioneer woman, not at all averse to hard work, the logging industry. She was part of it all. I'm sure that, you know, for us, it's about an hour drive to Bemidji and it's about an hour drive to Brainerd, but for them it was about 2 steps.
I've been doing art all my life. I majored in art at Mankato State University, now called Minnesota State University, Mankato. My major area was painting and drawing and three-dimensional work, and most of that was done in glass blowing. I was the featured glass blower at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival from 1977 to 1988. Quite often I just draw my fish on tag board. That way you can see I've got all these different sizes, different lengths, different shapes. These all happen to be walleyes. I've got folders full of sunfish and crappies and northerns. I've got big patterns of northerns over there, big walleyes. I don't worry a lot about extreme accuracy when I start these. This is just a rough end to get me going. I'm using 14 gauge hot rolled steel. The reason I'm using hot rolled steel is because I'm going to apply a patina to this fish, and the hot rolled steel reacts the way that I want it to. Cold rolled steel doesn't react properly. I don't strive for absolute total realism. These fish are more representative than they are perfectly real. That's not my object. My object is to be representative. My youngest memories were growing up were fishing. I've been doing fish and water things for my whole art career, and it's just a reflection of how I grew up more than anything. My father was an absolute fanatic when it came to fishing, and when I moved up here back in about 1986, I fit right in. So that's the rough out on the fish. I started out doing this process, I made it up from scratch. I had some leftover steel from a job I'd been doing for some people. I'm an artist turned welder, and so sometimes my welding helps to support my art habit and my artwork. So I like to incorporate the weeds. I find the weed lines fascinating. That's something I've really been aware of as my work has progressed over the last 10 years, that my line quality gets better and better all the time. And that's a really important thing for an artist that's doing any kind of work that involves lines. Line quality is huge, and it reflects the form more than any other thing, and gives a feeling of freedom and design. And I'm gonna go ahead and lay out 3 of these fish, and I'll cut all 3. That way I've got enough to do a 3-piece wall sculpture. I work in 3s a lot. 3 is kind of my number. I was born on the 3rd of July. I had a daughter born on the 3rd of September, but it's also a magic number. It makes a nice balance too. 3 is a good number. 3 is better than 4 visually. Way better than 4 visually. There's a lot of balance in nature. Just about everything I do comes from nature. I borrow from nature. There isn't much that isn't found in nature. And somebody said, well, I do wildlife art. Well, I don't think it is, but that's okay if that's what they want to see in it, that's fine. I just consider it art from nature more than anything. What I've got here is an amazing little tool called a plasma cutter. And this machine changes nitrogen in the air into plasma at 30,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it comes out an opening in this nozzle the size of a pinhead at 65 psi. It does an amazingly clean job of cutting the metal without heating the metal up. It leaves very little slag. What I need to do now is clean up. I'll clean this fish up and clean the lines up a little, and I will clean the slag off of it. I need to finish drawing the lines in, give myself a guide here now. I use these lines I'm drawing as guides. I don't worry if I'll actually change them as I cut them. Now I'm going to change wheels, then we'll start carving. I'll do 3 of those. For this piece I'm doing, I'll do 3 like that. And I freehand the weeds because my form is so much better. I don't sketch them out, but I learned the best way to do it is to just start cutting. Okay, that's how I cut the weeds. There's a few weeds. It makes a very attractive weed. It's got some nice interesting things going on. The forms are all a little different. So the first thing I need to do then now is to make the background. So I've got these pieces ready. They're just 45. This is the bottom. This is the top. And what I've done is I put keyholes in there with 2 different sized drills so that I can either hang it in the middle, or if a person wants to, they can hang it on 2 screw heads on 16-inch centers. As I do this piece, as I lay the fish on it, I will balance it out so it can be hung from the middle. So the first thing I'll do is tack this up. What I do is I have buckets full. I'll just get a bucket of weeds over here, just so that I can pick and choose which weeds I want to use. So I like to work with odd numbers as opposed to even numbers. Now I have to bear in mind that I'm going to also need to attach 3 fish to this. I like the composition of the weeds. This will work. It'll support the fish where I need it to. And that's pretty key. Then go around here now, and I can mark these weeds, and that's where I like them. That's a nice balance. I've got 3 over here. Nice asymmetrical design. Sometimes I keep the weeds within the frame. Sometimes I put the weeds on through the frame, over the frame. In this case, some will go over the top of the frame, and some will go up here to go through the frame. So now I need to decide just how the fish are going to go in there. And I've got this one. So the first attachment point I need to think about is this one. There. Now, does that work visually? Yeah, I think it does. These, of course, will be finished like this one is when I get there. I'm keeping it on center. That looks pretty well balanced. Okay. So what I will be able to do now, knowing that, is I can position these fish as I mount them and mark them so that I can hang it from a central point on the piece, and it won't tip one way or the other. Now I've got everything marked. Now I can take these off of there one at a time. I will tack it into place. Okay, I just keep fitting these pieces now as I go. I'll fit them all into place, and they will actually, behind the back side, I'll tack everything together just to add strength to it. I've started with the frame. I started with the sheet of steel. I cut the fish out. You saw me cut the weeds. And obviously I've got a lot of work left ahead of me. And what I am doing is I'm bringing all of this to this. This piece now, the steel that you see here is going to look just like this. And all this color, and you saw me carve the lines, all this color is done with a patina, which sometimes I powder coat, have it powder coated. Sometimes I paint it, sometimes I just put a patina on it. So I've got all kinds of things to do. So that's a finished wall sculpture of, I like to call them weed bed walleyes. It seems that the artist's statement is always a big deal. A person's got to make this profound artist statement, but to me, it seems that the work should speak for itself. I don't think that I need to explain everything about my work. I think that's the job of the artist, is to let the work visually do its own job. I'm not going to tell somebody what my work means. Let them decide that for themselves. And I don't think my work is that profound. I'm not trying to make profound statements. I'm trying to make artistic statements.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you next week right here on Common Ground.
If you have a segment idea for Common Ground, please contact us at legacy@lptv.org or call us at 218-333-3022. Individual segments or copies of Common Ground, please call 218-333-3020. Production funding for Common Ground is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.